Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Jo and this is Joey Sewy, where I talk about sewing, knitting, creativity and life. And today we are definitely really heavy on the knitting and creativity. This is a continuation of my series of videos about my trip to Woolfest. Woolfest is a festival in Cockermouth, which is the nearest town to where I live. It's a wonderful celebration of producers of yarn, and that is producers right down to the farmer level. What I want to bring you today is an interview that I did with a lovely lady called Sue Horn of Hawkshaw Sheep. And she is one of the many producers who visit the show, who not only farm the sheep and shear the sheep and take responsibility for spinning the wool, they also dye the wool and then they sell the wool. So they are the entire supply chain. And I just think Woolfest is completely wonderful for that. Sue will be able to describe her business much better than I can. So let's get into it. Cool. So what is your business?
My business is Hawkshaw Sheep, and I'm a hill farmer.
Oh, excellent.
And I have the sheep obviously live out on the hill.
Yeah.
And my business started because, as with a lot of people, the wool board didn't want my wool.
Right.
And in 2015 it cost me more to get my sheep clipped than I got back for the wool.
That must be heartbreaking.
It was
and not much use for a business.
No, I hadn't started the business then.
Yeah.
It was a case of that was the turning point.
Yeah.
I either sold the sheep because they were just a hobby.
Right, okay.
And the sort of sale of lambs and fleece covered the cost of medicines and things. So the sheep weren't costing me anything. They weren't making me anything either, but they weren't costing me until I didn't get much for the fleece, and I thought I either sell the sheep or I actually do something about it.
Right.
So maybe in May I thought I can do that.
Good.
I can make yarn. So that's what I did basically.
Had you ever made yarn before?
I am a hand spinner.
Okay.
So I had played about with fibre and fleece and everything before, but this is a whole different ball game.
Yeah. Wow.
I had to organise, somebody to spin it, process it from raw fleece into yarn, and I decided I was going to have a bolt of tweed cloth made.
And then worked out how to do it.
And as I say, I thought, I can do that. And it wasn't till I started the business that I realised when you have a business, there's quite a lot of businessy things you have to do, which I'd never considered. Just never considered it at all. I just thought, you just do it, don't you?
Yeah.
And learn as you go along. But it's been quite a steep learning curve.
Yeah, I bet. But a year ago you started here.
I launched here. First show, I launched my business.
Exciting.
And I'm back again.
What did that feel like, the first show?
It wasn't terrifying, but it wasn't that enjoyable either.
Yeah.
Another thing I hadn't considered was how to approach people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm quite a chatty person, but when somebody's got their back to me and they're looking at my yarns, I felt as though I was intruding, going and saying anything to them.
Yeah.
So
what's that point where they're browsing and you want to tell them about your products?
Yes.
How do you get in there?
Yeah, well, last year I couldn't. I found it really difficult and frustrating.
I would.
And so after last year, I made it my mission after that to try and interact with everybody that came to my stand. Yeah. It isn't always possible, but and I'm now not shy about, I'll just speak to somebody's back.
Yeah.
Say, hi, the shyness out of you. And they turn around then, usually.
Cool.
But it's, I've learnt a lot in a year.
Can you show us your yarn and all your products then?
Yeah.
So what do you have?
Right, well, we're mainly Shetland.
Right, and that's the sheep that you had before?
That's the sheep I had before. These yarns are last year's clip, which I've just got back. And as you can see, the Shetland, a mix of Hebridean and Shetland, and again Shetland. And
do you keep the Hebridean as well? Or?
I did. I used to have about a 50-50 mix of Shetlands and Hebrideans.
Right.
But for the 2017 and 2016 clip, the fleeces felted on the Hebrideans.
Oh gosh,
and
on the sheep?
On the sheep, yeah. They were almost like rugs when they came off, but not good enough to be a rug.
Yeah.
but they weren't good enough to make into yarn either because you couldn't. You just about needed a chainsaw to.
Wow. Was that the
cut
weather
through.
or was
yes.
that? Right.
Yeah, it was all the rain. And to make felt, you need 3 things: water, heat, and soap. Well, lanolin basically is soap.
Yeah.
Heat off the sheep, wet from the sky, a bit of movement with the sheep moving.
I did not know a sheep could felt itself.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
But then again, I suppose that's keeping them warm in nature, isn't it?
It is. So yes, we sold most of the Hebrideans.
We don't need to see us. We want to see the lovely yarn.
Yeah, we sold most of the Hebrideans.
Okay.
And we've been on a hill farm. When we gather, there's always a few don't come in.
Right.
And so I'm left with about 12 Hebrideans that escaped being sold.
They're the cunning ones.
Yes.
Quick, hide under a bush.
Yeah, and then I do have 2 Wensleydales as well, which I add to the mix.
Oh yeah, we just saw some Wensleydales over in the corner. Yeah,
yeah.
With
They've
the
got
dreadlocks.
a huge big fleece.
Yeah.
So weight-wise, it mixes in quite well with the other breeds.
Yeah.
And the Wensleydale, last year's Wensleydale, went into this yarn here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And these bottom ones were the first yarns that I
can see all of that.
I had processed.
Yeah.
So those were the 2016 yarns, and then all the ones on the top.
Yeah.
They went to the Border Mill in Scotland, so they're 100% Scottish yarn.
Right. So grown in Scotland, spun in Scotland.
Everything Scottish. All of these have been to the Natural Fibre Company to be spun, so they're British.
Right. Who are the Natural Fibre Company?
The Blacker yarns.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And other than these ones just here, you do all undyed natural sheep colours?
Yes. Yeah, these are just a few mini skeins that I did, and they've actually proved really popular for doing yokes on using the natural colours and then doing the.
Yeah.
I did have 200 of. There was a lot more colours than that,
Yeah,
but this is just what
I've
got left.
Well
of
done.
them.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
I like that.
And then
You like that colour? Oh, and they're very soft.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me do a close-up of those. They're lovely. I want your face. I want this lovely yarn. So that one there is lace weight, is it?
Yes.
In the corner with the lace.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Move that in.
Oh yeah, lace weight. And then
on them all what we've got.
we've got double knitting,
Double knitting.
and another double knitting in the brown, Aran, and chunky. Very nice. And you're online, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. There's a card there if you want to.
Oh yes, please.
I'll put some in your bag.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you're efficient.
Yeah.
He said he already got a card and put it in your bag.
Oh, good lord.
Oh well.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute, show one of these because I've split it on that. You show that one in the camera.
Yeah, come here, Bertie, and show us that on the camera. Step back a little bit. There we go, perfect. So yeah, I was going to say the one thing we didn't do at the start was ask you what your name was, but it's Sue.
It's Sue Horn.
That's lovely to meet you. Thank you very much for giving me so much time.
What, have you got a card of your?
I really enjoyed that chat with Sue, and we went on and we went around the rest of the show. We even came home for lunch and then went back again because we live that close, and that's really convenient. But I did go back at the end of the day, and she was one of the places where I made a purchase. Yep. So I did buy some of Sue's yarn later in the day, and here is what I got. There you go. This is the shade Misty Morning. It is lace weight. It is 100% British wool, and the tag here is wonderful because it gives you all the information about where it's come from. So it's from the 2016 clip, so you know which year the wool was grown. Grown in Scotland, scoured and spun in the UK. From 100% Shetland fleece, and Shetland is the breed of wool. So yeah, absolutely wonderful. So there's 600 meters in there. I have a tank top pattern or a vest in the US pattern that I am thinking of going for. It is so soft. It's so soft. Yeah, so I am thinking this has got tank top on it. I think it was £22 for a skein of wool. Wool at Woolfest isn't cheap wool, and there's a damn good reason why it's not cheap, because it's not cheap to produce yarn. Simple as that, okay? No other way around it, but it is beautiful yarn. It is really good quality. Not just this, but pretty much all of the yarn that you will find at Woolfest is really, really good quality and very close to the producer. So you know the money that you put into the pocket of the person at the stand pretty much stays in the pocket of the person in the stand. It doesn't go to a million people in a supply chain. It goes to their farm, to their business, to their small business, and that's the kind, that's the kind of world you want to live in, then that's how I like to support it. I feel like I'm really on my soapbox at the moment with these videos, but it just makes me so passionate, and I get so happy to be able to be a tiny little part of making someone's dream come true in running their own business. So I have a few more interviews to come along in the next few days that will all be in my playlist about Woolfest. So I hope you stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Happy sewing, happy knitting. If there's anything else you want to see, the playlist is going to be right here. Another video from my channel will be here. And if you liked what you saw and you're not already a subscriber, then that would be lovely to have you along for the ride. And there'll be a link just here. See you next time. Bye bye.